This movie hits you emotionally so hard. And I went into it thinking that, and I was like, we'll see. And then at the very end of it, and it was done, I just lost it, dude.
Confessions of a Film Poser! We're film posers, movie fans that somehow miss the classics. This channel is dedicated to fixing that one movie at a time. One of us posers has never seen It's a Wonderful Life. Can you believe that? So let's ask the poser in question, why is that?
Hey, I'm the poser that's never seen It's a Wonderful Life. Don't have a good reason. I feel like when it comes to Christmas movies, there's so many bangers. There's so many movies that I absolutely love. And when it comes to putting on a movie, I'm going to watch Jingle All the Way. I'm going to watch Gremlins, Eli's favorite. But this one just never seemed like fun to me. My mom loved it. I know tons of other people that love it. Just never took the chance, dude.
It's a Wonderful Life was released in 1946, directed by Frank Capra, and stars Jimmy Stewart as George Bailey. The movie is based on a short story called The Greatest Gift by Philip Van Doren Stern, which Capra first discovered after it was sent to him as a Christmas card. Capra bought the rights and developed it into what would eventually become one of the most famous films ever made. At its core, it's a fantasy drama about sacrifice, community, Depression-era America, and whether one ordinary life can truly matter. Despite its reputation today, the movie was not a hit when it was first released. Jimmy Stewart's real life deeply influenced his performance in this movie. He enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Forces before Pearl Harbor, becoming the first major Hollywood star to do so. Stewart flew combat missions over Europe, rose to the rank of colonel, and helped command bombing missions. When It's a Wonderful Life was released, it received mixed reviews, lost money at the box office, and was considered by some critics to be too dark, especially for a Christmas movie. For years, it was seen as a financial disappointment. That was until 1974, when the film's copyright was not properly renewed, causing It's a Wonderful Life to accidentally enter the public domain, at least partially. Because of this, television stations could air it for free, and it began playing constantly every Christmas. Entire generations grew up watching it year after year. That repetition transformed the movie from a box office failure into a holiday tradition. Eventually, studios reclaimed partial rights, including the music and story elements, but by then, the film's status as a classic was already locked in. The reason It's a Wonderful Life endures isn't just nostalgia. George Bailey's fear that his life doesn't matter is pretty universal. Dude, I'm really stoked for you to see this movie. This was on constantly when I was a kid. We used to always watch it on Christmas Eve. Expectations I have for this viewing, it's been a minute since I've watched this as an adult at the point I'm at now in my life with kids and a little bit more responsibility. So I'm excited to watch it from that perspective, from that angle. I think it'll be a completely different viewing. But I'm excited for you to see it, and I want to know what your expectations are before watching it, other than to probably cry and break down and reevaluate everything.
Well, I'm definitely going to cry if I watch this movie or not. It 'tis the season. I'm pretty sure this is going to be one of those watches where I've never technically seen it, but it's been on in the background so often. I know there's a part where he's like running through the streets in the snow, just like kind of yelling, and I don't know.
Whoa, slow! You're providing spoilers for yourself.
Well, I don't.
Man.
I was about to say I don't know what's happening. I don't know if he's a ghost and people can't hear him, or if they're just sick of this dude freaking yelling in the snow all night and they're ignoring him. But other than that, I know that it is kind of like super emotional and kind of crippling in the sense of like the fear that this guy has. I don't know why. You're making it so I'm going to be. My expectations are going to be really high for this. And I really hope I hate it so I can throw it in your face and it can be my Gremlins to you.
All right, well, keep that depressive attitude because I want you to take it into the movie. I want you to pour a nice glass of eggnog that's mostly whiskey, slam it back, and I want you to feel your expectations from me should be a renewed feeling of hope and inspiration at the end of this movie. So without further ado, let's kick it to future Vince and Eli.
Can I ask one Christmas favor before we transition over? Can you give me that little sweet elf dance on the way out?
Are you say where you are, George Bailey? You're in enough trouble already.
You made one mistake, Mr. Potter. You double-crossed me and you left me alive.
Now, wait just a second. I'll give you the money back.
I don't want the money. I want a piece of you, Potter. I want a pound. Why, you're nothing but a fraud. You're not even a cripple.
All right, we're back. After a couple days after we watched It's a Wonderful Life, Vince, that was your very first viewing. Get right into it. What did you think?
I thought it was an absolutely wonderful movie. I'm a little pissed because I feel like this double feature Christmas thing that we did, I got roped into showing you Gremlins for the first time. You got roped into showing me one of the best movies I've ever seen, and I feel like it was kind of unfair, and I'm a little pissed about it, dude. Because I would have brought a stronger movie if I knew that this is what you were bringing me.
Well, the problem is all of the high-profile Christmas movies we've already seen before.
That's true.
There's not a lot of movies that you've seen that I haven't. A lot of movies that I haven't seen that you have. So I think this is just the way that the cards were dealt, my man, for the Christmas season. What about It's a Wonderful Life worked for you?
So it's an older movie, obviously. What was it, 1942 or 43?
I believe it was 1946.
Okay, 46. The first thing that stood out to me is there's not one bad actor in this movie. Everyone's believable. Every character feels like a real person. The set design, all of the movie sets, the fact that he is like running around town and interacting with things in town. He's kicking bushes. There's the pedestal or the staircase rather in his house that is like an object that's a character in itself. Every time he comes up the stairs, that thing falls off, and he's like annoyed to fix it. Sometimes he's happy. At the very end, he's happy that he's back. He's happy that that annoyance is real and that his life is back to normal. I was blown away by all of it. The 4K render of this movie is gorgeous. Jimmy, I think of after Vertigo and this, I think I'm a huge Jimmy fan, dude.
Dude, it's been a minute since I've watched this movie, and it hit me definitely in a different place, which I suspected. That was kind of my expectation going to this. First of all, did it hit your expectations? Like, I know that you didn't really have many detailed expectations.
No.
And you just kind of described in the first part that you had seen a couple of scenes from the movie, but you didn't really have context for them. But did it exceed your expectations?
It 100% exceeded my expectations. This movie hits you emotionally so hard. And I went into it thinking that, and I was like, we'll see. I'm not a super emotional guy when it comes to movies, but some movies get me. This one, I like teared up, and I was like, okay, I'm cool. And then at the very end of it, and it was done, I just lost it, dude, and I started crying. It was this movie hits you deep, dude. And I'm not a father yet, hopefully someday, but I can't imagine being a father and like having the anxiety of holding the household and like having all of these human beings that depend on you, and you try to do the right thing over and over and over, and you just get smashed every time. And then just him like towards the end before the angel comes, him like kind of deliberating like, okay, my family is screwed. The only way that I can kind of help them at this point is to off myself. Then of course the angel comes and stuff. Yeah, I was blown away. Excellent movie. One of my favorite Christmas movies of all time now.
I couldn't help but, as I was watching this, realizing that all of the people involved in this movie are dead, I would imagine. If not all, most of them are not alive anymore. And it's amazing that a movie from 1946, you can go back. There's movies you can watch that are old that play really well. You mentioned Vertigo, 2001: A Space Odyssey. There's movies that play well in the modern age, but there's few movies that I've ever seen that touch upon the human experience. And maybe it's specific to the American experience of expectation of what your life is versus reality. It's amazing that a movie this old, the movie that was done so long ago where the world was completely different, still resonates, and it still, speaks to people. And my point for saying that they were all dead, it's like, I realize that this movie is immortal. These people are immortal. This movie will always hit every generation. Maybe not in the same numbers, but at the end of the day, like, I think everybody's going to hit a point in their life where they see this movie, and it really touches all the nerves, right? And to your point, George Bailey is such a good human being that it betrays him, and it almost works against him at certain points. And the thing I love about this movie is that, going back to what you're saying about Jimmy Stewart does such an impressive job in this movie, because you're basically looking at a 20-year period of George Bailey's life, from when he's young and ambitious and wide-eyed, and he's going to take the world by storm. And then they slowly and entertainingly and funny and tragic and uplifting and all those different emotions and all those different ways, they tell this 20-year story. They don't do an Avengers 5 years later. They don't put it on screen. It's all through performance. It's all through the circumstances that George Bailey is going through. You can't say enough good stuff about Jimmy Stewart, his performance, and the way he plays George Bailey throughout different periods of his life. It's not an easy thing to do. Also, Frank Capra's direction. But what were some of the scenes that stood out to you that really, that really kind of just encapsulated why you love this movie?
One thing in the beginning of the movie, it's like one of the first times that him and Mary are like walking and talking. And what kind of annoyed me was that he had like the perfect girl there that was pretty much throwing herself to him, and he was oblivious because his whole like dream for what his life was supposed to be was traveling and exploring and building the biggest and best things, and he was so blind to what was there, which in the entire movie, I guess that's the point of it, is that he has everything he could ever imagine and he's blind to it the entire time. It annoyed me at first, but then whenever I understood that that was like the basis of the movie, I appreciated that so much more.
Yeah, and that's the great payoff, right? That's what they pay off so well. And you need that scene. That scene is it anchors the entire movie because everything plays off the contrast of those few scenes in the beginning when he's young.
Yeah, and I think that's something that this movie did that a lot of modern movies don't, is there's typically like the like the arc of the film where there's something bad that's happening and then the person needs to overcome it. This movie did such a good job of having that arc throughout the entire movie. He was blind to the fact that he had everything and anything he could ever desire right in front of him. And even in his most optimistic moments and the joy that he had, he was still blind to that. And as the movie progresses and he gets older, which this is an older movie, so there's a few like cut scenes that are like really, really rough, but I find it like kind of cool because it's an old movie and they're trying.
And they're cutting it by hand, dude.
They're exactly. Like, no shade to them because what they did was better than any of the slop that we've gotten. Whenever he's a little kid and he's working with the druggist and the druggist's son died and he's distraught and drunk or whatever, and he's going to poison the person that he was supposed to deliver the pills to, and then him being a good person realized it and went to go help and then came back and the guy started beating him in the ears and his ears were bleeding.
When he's screaming, "Don't hurt me in my sore ear again. Don't hurt me in my sore ear." It's like one of the saddest lines. And that kid, shout out to whoever that kid was. And if I was better, I would have looked up his name, but that kid is incredible in the way he plays it, and also shout out to Donna Reed who played Mary. She's incredible too. I mean, she really just completes that relationship, and you don't get that performance out of Jimmy Stewart, out of George Bailey without her.
Yeah, 100%. And she's a smoke show, dude. Absolutely,
not like absolute smoke show,
dude. Women now, of course, are beautiful, but like the classic beauty that was in a lot of these old 40s and 50s movies, like I don't even know what to say without being a creep, but. Absolutely gorgeous.
I think classically beautiful is you said it. Like that's absolutely correct. And this movie does a good job of painting it that way. For me, the scene that holds everything together and the scene that I always walk away from this movie remembering more than anything. And I got spoilers here a little bit. So I'm jumping ahead to my rewatchability. I watched this movie today too. I threw it on the VHS player, the colorized, which does not look as good as the black and white.
I was going to ask, is it worth the colorized?
No, I haven't watched it like on Blu-ray. It's just on VHS, but it wasn't great. But I watched it again just to throw it on in the background.
Is it Technicolor, like where they used to paint in each cell?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, for sure. So for me, it's the scene where after he finds out that cousin Billy, or I'm sorry, Uncle Billy, who's really Uncle Billy's the Darth Vader of this movie.
Yeah.
But after he loses the money and he realizes, it's a moment in the story where you see George Bailey think of himself first. Everything else are examples. They show you how this guy is like, the rare human being that thinks of everybody else, down to putting his life dreams aside for other people, and going back to that scene in the beginning when they're Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight? Her dream is to marry him. They've got inverse dreams. And when she makes the wish, when she throws the rock at the window and then makes the wish and wishes for him, and then it just is beautiful. But the scene I come back to is after he talks to Potter and he goes to the bar, dude, and he says the prayer to God, like, "I'm not a praying man, but like, show me the way." show me what I want to do. I'm at the end of my rope. It's such a desperate performance. It's a desperate moment in this character's life. And you see this guy who's been nothing but good get absolutely screwed by the circumstances of life that he has no control of. He goes to God, he prays to God, he cries out, and the first thing that happens to him is he gets punched in the mouth. Yeah. And then after that, after this sequence, I just love that scene so much. The desperation in the performance by Jimmy Stewart is 1 in a million, dude. And I'm not sure that there's another scene that I can point to that's comparable. That's the way life feels sometimes. It's like, even when you call out to a higher power, and then the rest of the movie is basically, like, you realize too, is like the will he had for his life. And if you're looking at it from a spiritual sense or from the sense of like a God-fearing person, that's not the will that God had for his life. And so therefore, a lot of times human beings rage against that and they end up in a worse spot because of it. And it's not until he gives in and surrenders the fact that, to your point, man, I have got everything that I could possibly ask for, and I live what other people dream. Yeah, I might not be rich, but I have everything. And then, it all culminates in that final scene, dude, where it's just like the payoff is the way that everybody thinks about him and comes to support him in his time of need. And that's the answer to the prayer, dude. And man, this movie is so fantastic, and I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it too. I would say my watchability score, 5 out of 5. I plan on watching this every Christmas. Thank you, man. This movie's incredible. Just one more thing, like the fact that this movie came out in 1946 and they touch not so much, but they do definitely touch on like the war and all the efforts and how like he stayed back to fight the villain at home, aka Potter, and then all of his friends and family went to fight the Germans and Japanese,
which was a result of his ear. Like the fact he was deaf in one ear. Again, it's the result of him doing the right thing.
Yeah. I can't imagine how impactful and emotional this was for the audience to watch in 1946. And I definitely like was thinking about that as I was watching it. And it's so cool. It's so cool. We kind of talked about this, and I guess you talked about it in the beginning of this right now, but this movie's going to be around forever. All of these people, all these actors, all these characters are gonna last forever. Whenever you make such an impactful movie like this that stands the test of time, it's a shame that it took me this long to watch it, but I'm also so glad that I was in this mind space to sit down and check this out and give it my full attention. And it's definitely worth it. If you've never seen this movie, Christmas season's here. You're gonna have a few days off, I hope. If not, maybe you can still fit it in. This is a must watch. It is one of my favorite movies that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better, dude. 5 out of 5, obviously, for me. And I put that, I've lived what I said I believed, because I did watch it again. And you really walk away from, you can't help but reevaluate your own life. And how many shows or TV or movies or anything or pieces of art can you really say that about, especially from something that's 80 something years old now maybe, or around that. And that's truly the testament to Frank Capra, to Jimmy Stewart, to Donna Reed, to everybody involved in this story. I love it so much. It was great. If there's one thing I could change, I think it was unrealistic in the very end when Uncle Billy walks in. If I'm George, I'm going, you get the hell out of my house.
Oh, Uncle Billy gets smacked up, dude. You smack his ears till they bleed.
You lost $8,000 because you're a drunken idiot who trains crows, I guess. And squirrels.
That's only introduced at the very end when he's looking for the money. There's no other reference to that. And at first I was like, wait, why is there a crow in the house? Why is he not batting away this crow that's in their house?
I have to imagine it was symbolism. I have to imagine. But then there's the thing with the squirrel that's even more confusing. And I'm like, what? I think it just is really to portray Uncle Billy as an asshat in every facet. He's just and he's loyal. Again, he's loyal to this guy, and it ends up biting him in the ass. And that's, unfortunately, that's kind of the way the world works sometimes. And it doesn't mean that you don't do the right thing. But if I'm George in that final scene, I'm just like, I'm having it out. I'm getting all my rage out. Merry Christmas, bro. I'm glad that even though I didn't care for Gremlins, I'm still glad I watched it. I'm glad that we have this channel. I'm glad that we're fighting against our poser nature and watching movies that we've never seen before. It's a whole hell of a lot of fun, dude.
It is. And if I could take away anything from this, obviously the show is fun, but personally, I'm just loving the the chance and the reason to watch movies that I've just been sitting on.
We just want to thank you. We want to thank all of our new subs. We got over the 100 sub mark. That's huge for us, and we've been really looking forward to that. So thank you to everybody that's been subscribing. In the spirit of Christmas and asking for things, I would ask, and I don't do a good job of this, but we're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So if you're on Spotify, you're on Apple, and you're looking for a podcast, if you want to listen to us, I know on Spotify you can watch us too, but go give us a follow, give us a review, a comment. We'd really appreciate it. Again, we appreciate everybody. If you haven't subscribed already yet, we got a bunch of fun stuff coming in 2026, a bunch of fun movies. Watch them with us, let's get involved. Give us suggestions of movies that you might have seen that you love that maybe we haven't, and we'll have discourse in the comments. It's my favorite thing about this. And Vince, thanks for doing this. It's only been a few months now, so I'm stoked to see where we're going. And like you, I enjoy the focused attention of watching these movies and really asking myself how I feel about them, which is not something you do a lot in life.
Yeah, and if you are able to reach out to us on Instagram, follow us there. We can post maybe the video of the week before the show comes out, so you can watch it along with us, and then you can come back at the end of the week and see and already have that movie watched just like we did, and then go into it with what you thought. You could see what we thought about the movie before and obviously after, and see if you agree or disagree or have any ideas of things we should watch in the future. Other than that, Merry Christmas, dude.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great holiday season. Merry Christmas. We'll be back on New Year's Day. We're going to do our top 5 of the movies that we've watched since we started this channel, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll be back in 2026. Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Confessions of a Film Poser.